sound on? Yeah, it looks like we're all good. How's it going, everybody? Oh, let me move. Well, that's fine right now. All right, so howdy, everybody. Today is Monday, August 22nd. This is Ration Museum Bulletin number. I always do this. What is this, 84? Yep, 84. All right, so this is a short one. This will be short. Just gonna eat and talk. This will be the last broadcast before I leave for Burning Man. I'll be gone. I'll be flying out tomorrow, and I won't be back until early September. So I'll be back the weekend prior to the next stream will be September 12th. So apologies for any stumbling over words or anything today. I've been up for a long time. Been up for like 27 hours. So I've got some coffee right here. Just have some last minute stuff to do, mostly work. You know, I bit off a little more than I could chew for a work project and have been learning some stuff that I should have learned a good while back. And it's very slow, and I don't want to leave without having made any progress. So we like short shorts. We like short shorts. All right, so doing some howdies. We got MFOs, we got Amelié, we got Fordman, James, Mike. Wow, we got a whole crew in here. Good to have all you guys. Thanks for jumping in. Today we're going to be following up on last week's Chinese Paratrooper Ration. In between streams, I talked to Ted, and we're all on the same page now. I think, I didn't feel like there was any problem in terms of value for what I got. There was some confusion. He thought that each of the blue bag rations was the same and that they were all 3,900 calories, but they're each an individual meal, and a breakfast, lunch, and dinner component together make up that 3,900. So, yeah, less than 6 hours. You're right, MFOs. So I got a whole additional set from him, and he kicked in the missing breakfast from the first. Well, not missing. I got the two I paid for. So, like I said, I was happy with the price. $14 for a meal from China. Have it in hand is not a bad deal in my opinion. So, hey Rosie, welcome to the stream. Good to have you. So he threw in a breakfast just as a thanks for pointing it out to him, so he could go around and update his post and contact anybody who might otherwise have, taken it a little more seriously than I did. I hope nobody, got upset about it. It's an honest mistake in terms of just labeling. So we'll have, in this box, we should have a breakfast, or two breakfasts, one lunch, and one dinner. Got the other dinner over here, and depending on how crazy it looks, I might eat a breakfast and a dinner here. I don't know. Let's see. So we've got by the way, I should mention I'm having a cup of coffee. I think I already said, but I didn't say which. So this is the super fine instant coffee from Yossi. Hey, we got Rachel. Welcome. Good to have you. So hopefully that'll wake me up a little bit and keep me from stumbling on my words too much throughout the stream. All right, so just gonna open this box and we'll take a quick look. shouldn't be much we need to do in terms of translation. We already did the main stuff last week, though. We can walk through some of it again. All right. We've got, this will be the lunch. We've got the forenoon, and I'm not sure if I noticed this on the stream last time, but we've got a white check mark. I don't think I noticed it on the stream. We've got a white check mark on each bag next to what it is. So we've got the three sets of contents on every bag. So the back of the bag is the same in all cases. So we've got the 3 sets of contents, and there's going to be a check mark next to what meal we're looking at. So right here, you see the check marks at the bottom for dinner. This one's at the top for breakfast. This one is also a breakfast. And this one, the check marks in the middle for the lunch menu. The lunch menu has the expanded instructions. This block is the same on the right side and the bottom here. So this extra expanded instructions for the heater only appear on the lunch. That's the only one that's got a heater. So this overall, I think, is a really neat ration. I was really happy with the lunch portion of it. So, you know, we're gonna see what the dinner and breakfast are like. Breakfast there. Put breakfast, lunch, and dinner aside. That'll be for the museum, so that it has a complete copy. And we already opened up the breakfast, but we'll take a look, or sorry, the dinner, but we'll take a look in there again. But how's everybody's week been going? Hey, we got JW Speaker MRE. Good to have you, Tim. Cheers. And, okay. Doesn't look like I missed anybody this time. Hard to see on the iPhone. Yeah, I mean, turn sideways, it might not be too crazy, but we'll have a little bit of small detail on here. Summer's going too fast. It's been a little bit of a hot one. I'm about to go spend 2 weeks in a very, very, very inhospitable place, where it's going to be 100 in the day and 40 at night, and like 10% humidity or less. It's going to be a fun trip. This will be my 13th time out in the Black Rock Desert camping for an extended period of time. This time I'm going to be there for 12 back-to-back days. That's going to be not a record. I think 13 is the longest I've been out there, but this is definitely a long one. So I'm going to be leaving Reno at 3 in the morning on Friday and rolling in my 9-ton, 30-foot long, gigantic hot pink box truck. So that'll be a fun one. Only have to drive a little over 100 miles into the desert, but it's close to a 2.5. Well, it's more like 125 miles, something like that. But it's like a almost 3-hour drive because of the winding, snaking roads, and there will be traffic. And then I'll get to what they call Gate Road. Gate Road, you could be anywhere from 1.5, 2 hours to my worst year, thanks to the weather and a rainstorm, was 28 hours. Actually, 8 of those hours was spent getting to Gate Road, I think. 18 hours was stuck because of the closure. Yeah, something like that. Building a box truck camper, that would be pretty cool. This is a gear hauler, so it's got we have 2 geodesic domes. We have basically a living room, like an extended Quonset hut that we put up by the road, so that we have like chairs and stuff that we hang out in, and interact with people going by on the street, and kind of, it's funny, like it's a real city. So like, there's an operating newspaper. There's actually a couple. So like, people will be biking by in the morning, and you want the paper, and you could be sitting there in your living room reading your paper, drinking your coffee, and the paper's just full of madness, And so we've got our 2 domes, we've got our living room, we got to build a whole big covered shade space for putting all the tents inside for the folks that are tent camping, and then we set up this PVC pipe perimeter with great big thick pipes, also all hot pink, and then have these inflatable balls that you get inside where just your feet stick out, and there's backpack straps and handles inside the ball, and we pit 4 on 4, and they run together and bounce and roll all over the place and fight, and it's a good time. So all that gear is in the truck that I'm driving in, along with a dozen bicycles and a couple generators, and all kinds of stuff. So it's a big heavy pile of stuff. Yeah, nothing about parking today. Good call though, MFOs. Oh wait, did Kaylynn join? Hey Kaylynn, good to have you. But yeah, it's this one's a home one, so I don't have to keep rushing out and feeding the meter. Or actually, now that I figured out the app, I don't have to keep checking on the app. Thankfully, so far, I have not ended up with any tickets, though. Last stream, or not last stream, 2 streams ago, the last stream that I did from the museum, I was cleaning up afterwards, and I was going as fast as I could, just taking those cases in, because we had done almost 30 cases. So rushing the cases back and forth, I gave myself like 25 minutes, and it wasn't enough. Because when I was done, I saw a notice that my parking had expired by like 7 minutes, and I thought for sure I was going to have a ticket, but I was lucky, I didn't. When I came out, I could see parking authority on the end of the block, so I was very close, but I made it out without any tickets. I sound sick? No, I'm good. I'm good. I've been up for 27 hours, so I'm tired. And I realized I hadn't had anything to drink for water-wise in a couple hours before the stream, so I'm trying to get something in me, and hopefully it shouldn't sound too bad. I think it's just being tired. Emily says, I always thought a Humvee would be cool to have as a driver. Oh man, so when I was in Montana, and I thought that this whole thing was going to be in Montana long term, I was going through the hoops to get access to the state agency for surplus property, which I'll do again whenever I end up wherever we're going to be permanent, whether that's Pennsylvania or West Virginia or South Carolina or wherever it happens to end up. Basically, most of them require that as a nonprofit, you're open to the public for the better part of a year before you qualify. And then at that point, you can use like the government liquidation auction sites and that kind of stuff. And in Montana, I was gonna buy a Humvee, and if I had gotten into the program, I could have gotten one from one of the military bases out there for between $3,000 and $4,000, and done the kitchen setup in the back. So you can do the in-bed kitchen setup where everything's kind of mounted in there. And then the goal after that would have been to get a kitchen trailer, and have that for, like events and stuff. And I want that for the museum. Certainly not here, driving an actual Humvee, not like, not the H3 or whatever, not the civilian ridiculous SUV thing, but like a big wide, Humvee. They're not straight up road legal out of the box, but you can get permission to drive them on the road. So the museum would have to go through some hoops for that, and that's still down the line. All kinds of stuff could still happen, and I'd love to get there. So when I get back from Burning Man, there is a lot of work to do. The museum is going to be basically my job. The goal is going to be to put, a year of museum first, working full hours, at least 3 days a week, 4 days a week, well, 3 days a week for sure. Contacting people, putting plans together, trying to figure out where is the museum going to land, and in relation to that, where am I going to land in terms of the next place that I live, and then making that happen, because that's the next big step. Fundraising is the next big step. So the museum's going to need to be able to pay for itself, which the goal is going to be small, but once I'm focused on this entirely, I'm going to be able to reach out to organizations and write grants and that sort of stuff to cover at least the current rent, and start planning for what the next phase is. So going to need to find a town that wants a museum, and wants to work with us and potentially help with property. And if all that lines up, then I'll be in a position where we can get volunteers that can come in. We can start moving into the next big phases. Want to eventually 3D scan everything. Want to go in and open up all the the canned stuff and empty it all out, and make sure that the canned stuff, the cans themselves are preserved long term. There's huge amounts of stuff. A lot of it just can't be done when we're in this tiny little archive room. I mean, looking at last week, 2 weeks ago, I spent a good 35-40 minutes setting up for the stream and doing the case cataloging for 4 hours, and then another good 35 minutes afterwards. And it's just that's a lot of wasted time. So yeah, Rachel, it is a lot for one person. But the goal is to get it to a point where when I bring somebody else on, or multiple other people on, that it's not, I'll say, I don't want it to feel half-assed anymore. And while I've put thousands of hours into this project, it's not gonna get all the way to the finish line, with 6 hours, 8 hours a week. It's just not. So, I left my job, kind of been dancing back and forth with, do I go for another job? Do I move to another tech company? What do I do? And at this point, I've had enough different signs come at me that I need to make this work. I want to make this work. This is what my passion has been. I've put a huge amount of time and money into this for a decade. Why did I do that if I don't want it to succeed? And it's not going to succeed at the pace it's going. It's been great. I've been making all kinds of progress, but now that the collection site is online, you guys can see it at collection.rationmuseum.com. That was one of those that was a pivot point. That was one of those things that I needed that to exist before I can get to the fundraising step, because that one site shows people we have 1,000+ things, and they're seriously properly cataloged, and we're ready to move on to that stage where we can share this with people. So when I say, hey, I need the public's help, to preserve this stuff, it's not, well, what stuff? Here's a notepad list. No, it's, here, look through the site. All these things. Do you want to see them in more detail? Do you want to get descriptions? Do you want to get links to, all kinds of other materials? Do you want us to be able to catalog and share manuals and studies on the nutritional effects of these things? All that stuff is going to take time, is going to take volunteers, is going to take, funding. And, at this point, I think we just crossed that hump to where getting to the point where we can ask people for help isn't such a crazy thing. I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to most of this stuff, in terms of it's never good enough, it's never good enough, it's never good enough. But I think it's good enough. I think we're at a point where it's good enough. So now I've got to just kind of put together, a fundraising effort, and, get some videos together. Speaking of videos, Amelie, if you want to message me a link, I can drop it in chat. Unless you're able to post links in chat. There's the first of the shorts on YouTube, and I think it's great. There's going to be more of those, and I'm going to start putting together, 10-minute videos and stuff, in terms of, informative little things. But one of the things we have to do is, an explanation of the museum, the project, etc., that is a little easier to ingest than 4-hour streams and all that kind of stuff, So Mike's saying move in with Smokey. We definitely have to work together. Hey, Smokey, we're going to work together more, I'm sure, more and more. If there's anybody I know that's, super passionate about rations and ration history, it's old Smokey. So I missed him coming in, I think, but I see him now. So howdy. All right, let's take a look at this, and thank you guys for letting me ramble about this. It's it's weird, sometimes to think like, it's not just a hobby. It's not just it's not just a little silly thing on the side. Like, I'm really, really trying to to build an actual institution around this. And I had no idea how complicated that was when I started, and I'm sure I could have opened something really basic, that didn't really do the history justice in Montana. But at this point, I think we're on track to build something a lot longer lasting and with a lot better impact. So I'm excited for it, and I have you guys to thank for keeping me inspired and keeping me on track. So thank you. Smokey won't eat anything in a restaurant less than 20 years old. That would narrow the choices. That would narrow the choices quite a bit. But man, oh man, this year I've been eating rations. Like this week, I've had like 2 frozen dinners and everything else rations. Last week, rations. It's just, like I said, those first strike rations, they were just, couldn't turn them down. Those HDRs couldn't turn them down. They were just too good of a deal. And now that I've been doing it for a couple months, I've actually, I track everything because I'm a crazy person. I got spreadsheets upon spreadsheets. My food cost per day has been coming down and down and down. So if this is bringing my costs down and letting me eat rations all the time, then hey, that's a nice benefit. I missed one thing Fordman said. Don't really like modern Jeeps much, but love to have a war production Willys or Ford. So yeah, like an old CJ2 or something would be super cool. My brother drives a brand new, is it Renegade or Gladiator? I always get it wrong. He has the pickup truck Jeep, and swears by it, loves it. In terms of being able to get anywhere with it. But he was saying last night he wishes it wasn't quite as long as it was, or as it is. It's a long vehicle, it's like an extended cab, extended bed pickup. So that's a pretty long vehicle, but can go anywhere. So yeah, it's funny. In the last couple of weeks, I've run into a lot of people that have that have some cursory knowledge of rations and are into ration videos. Granted, all of them got there because of Steve. So I don't know anybody that's exposed rations to more people. He's certainly the entry point for at this point millions. So it's but it's great to just see how many people out there. It's really not just this completely niche thing. Like lots and lots of people have watched his videos or watched other ration reviewers videos, and more and more I hear people that have actually gone out and found some and tried them and that kind of stuff. Hey, we got rock or something. If you check the description down below, you're part of it now. So thanks for sending over that request. I got your info in there. So and just anybody else, if I missed you, just let me know. I'll make sure that your channel gets a shout out in the description down below these videos. Yeah, Steve's the gateway drug to rations for sure. And every time I say like, oh, I have to make a couple videos, I think of like all the work he's put into making his videos in terms of the research and collecting the photographs, and he writes his own music for that stuff too. I mean, there's a reason he's got the subs that he's got. But if we can achieve a little fraction of that, I'd be thrilled. On our own, of course. So what's that on the little screen? Me? Or you mean these? I think behind again. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now you're caught up, I'm assuming. So yeah, these are the Chinese rations that we're looking at today. So it's a 3-part ration. There's these little check boxes indicate what meal it is. So we've got a breakfast, is the top box. We've got a lunch, and we've got a dinner, and last week I ate the lunch. The lunch is a really substantial meal. It had pork, it had beef, it had fried rice, and it had like shortbread cookie bars, basically. It was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I had no gastric distress afterwards. So I was thrilled with that. So let's see. This was the dinner. We opened it up last week. We're gonna quick translate this again so that we have a good idea of what it is. Now I noticed last time, and I'll repeat it this time, they do not put ingredients on these things. Actually, I haven't looked at what these are. I could be wrong. I could be ingredient info down there. So we'll take a look, because I just noticed now that there's extra info that I didn't see. Although those look like pretty small lists. So we've got the 3 pouches and the brick compressed food for the dinner, and we're gonna have the same for, actually no, we're gonna have 2 pouches and a compressed brick for the breakfast. Let's open this up too, and then we'll do some translating. So I wasn't sure at first if this was civilian or legit, but these are legit. So this is coming from what's his MRE info name? Safari Man, I think. But Ted Shulgan? I think it's Ted. So I want to say it's 14 each. So if you were to get a complete one, yeah, it'd be 42 plus shipping. The shipping for 3 would require a box, so probably better to get, you know, 4 or 5. He also has the green ones, which are like the ones he's got are the whole meal variety with the heater meals and everything. So these are fun, you know. Okay, so the breakfast is tiny. The breakfast has boiled peanuts, mustard greens, and a compressed food brick. I remember that being the contents on that, but I don't recall offhand what the dinner was. So we're gonna fire up this app from the future and take a quick look in real time and see what these things say they are. So we're going from Chinese to English. I'm gonna do camera. And what I found last time worked was going to the scan mode instead of trying to hover there and take a picture. In scan, I can just pause. Well, actually, I want the dinner. I can pause over it when it's clear, snap a quick picture, and then any of the text that I want to see, I can just give it a quick swipe, and we get press dry food. Let's look at the next item. Yeah, this was 4 fresh, fragrant, dried. This was the one that didn't make sense to me, and I translated it a couple ways. But everything else, I've been super, super impressed with the translation. Like the heating instructions, there's no gibberish in there. It's 100% clear, step by step, what you're supposed to do. All right. So spiced hairtail was the next thing, and then assorted fruits. So we've got like kind of a pouch of fruit cocktail. So now let's take a quick look. Let's take a quick look at the actual bags themselves, because I noticed that they've got some extra text underneath. Like this is the text that's on the menu on the pouch, but underneath we've got something else. So I'm gonna, oh, it is ingredients. All right, so we're gonna do a scan here and then get that lower block highlighted. So we see ingredients, hairtail, and seasoning. I'm gonna have to look this up, what hairtail is. It doesn't ring any bells. It's a fish. Okay. The large head hairtail, or beltfish, is a member of the cutlass fish family. Abundant species is found in tropical and temperate oceans throughout the world. Okay, so that's fish. I would not have guessed what hairtail was. Okay, so we've got fish and seasonings. All right, so we know we don't get as detailed as, say, some American dishes. And honestly, I think I'm going to try and eat all this stuff. Yeah, well, the HAIR was what was confusing me, because I'm like, that just doesn't sound right, you know? But it's funny, like, you know, we've got this real-time feature that sort of works with the Chinese. Like for a second there, it did say, oh yeah, there we go. You saw for a second it said assorted fruits, but it works so much better if I just put it down, let it get nice and clear, and then do the scan mode. All right, so this whole lower block is ingredients. We're going to translate, just this chunk of stuff, and we'll see what we got. So this is the assorted fruit pouch, and we're looking at ingredients: water, coconut fruit, orange, yellow peach, pineapple, wolfberry, sugar, and citric acid. So, shui ye guo juzi. I'm not. Nope. I'll stop there. Trying to. Let's see.
黄桃菠配料水、椰果、橘子、黄桃、菠萝、枸杞、白砂糖、柠檬酸。
Yeah, I was way off. I'm not even gonna pretend that I can pronounce Chinese yet, but God, I love the future. It's so crazy that it can do that stuff in real time. So let's see what the four fragrant dried, what this actually turns out to have as ingredients. And I might have to do some lookup there. So for this one, we've got, oh, the camera's definitely behind again. I don't think it loves it when I've got this camera right next to it because of the Wi-Fi, probably. Yeah, this is behind by a few seconds right now. Every now and then it should catch up though. Like, yeah, okay, now it's caught up again. So we got ingredients: mustard, sugar, monosodium glutamate, chili powder, sesame oil. So mustard, they're talking greens. So this is going to be mustard greens. Is this the right meal? Did I grab something from breakfast? Let's see. What does the top say? Mustard greens. So is that supposed to be in here? Or is that, did I mix these around? Yeah, no, that's the right thing. So that's the one that comes through as the four fragrant something. Spicy speaks Cantonese. That's impressive. That is impressive. I speak very, very poor Japanese. I took 5 terms of it, but never got conversationally good. Like street directions, you know, この道をまっすぐ行って主義の2交差点に左へ曲がって主義の3交差点にすぐそばですよ。の You know, why did I learn Japanese? It is not a useful language in the United States. You know, you make your choices and you live with them. One of these days I'll go to Japan. And that's the thing, you know, for rations. I'd love to go to Japan and, like, you know, go to one of these conventions where they have like you know, they love rations over there, and they call it miri meshi, which is like this kind of civilian homage to rations in general, where you can get stuff in grocery stores that's like a ration, and it's all together, and it's, you know, long-term storage kind of stuff. So I just find that super, super interesting. All right, we're going to translate the contents of this compressed food brick. Let's get that where there's some good light on it. Okay, so we've got standard powder. See, yeah, every time I hold this phone right up to the other one, it gets a little wonky because I'm sure there's like dueling Wi-Fi going on. We got standard powder, palm oil, white sugar, glucose, and milk powder. So these basically were shortbread cookies. Yeah, Mandarin Chinese. Wait. Yeah, Mandarin Chinese is spoken by the bulk of mainland China. Cantonese, Cantonese was spoken. Cantonese is way more popular in like American Chinatowns, though. Like if you're learning Chinese to use in the United States, you know, with people that live in the United States currently, it's funny. You're better off learning Cantonese, but if you want to learn Chinese to get around China, you're way better off learning Mandarin. And Spicy, definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say that Hong Kong is Cantonese. And I don't know about Shenzhen. Shenzhen's like right over, you know, right over into mainland China. I mean, like, it's just basically just north of Hong Kong. But I don't know if Shenzhen is also Cantonese. I want to say their, you know, primary language is Mandarin. So I always found that interesting that, you know, in the States, like if you go to Chinatown in Boston or Philly or New York or, you know, San Francisco, folks are going to be mostly speaking Cantonese. But yeah, not the case in the mainland if you're in Beijing or, you know, Guangzhou or whatever. Okay, so we looked at this one. I think we got mustard, sugar, monosodium glutamate, chili powder, sesame oil. So I think this, didn't we get the same ingredients off of this basically? Or did we already translate that? Not sure. This one, I don't think I'm going to be able to translate because it's all crunched up around the words on it. So maybe once I open it up. But yeah, overall, I think these things are really, really interesting, fun rations. The breakfast is small, so we're looking at by weight. You know, these blocks are the biggest part. The block for dinner is actually smaller. So for breakfast, or actually no, they were all 90 grams. So wait, no, 90 isn't the gram weight. The gram weight, all right, so we're looking at 210 grams. The dinner or the lunch one was 125, and the dinner one again is 210 for these compressed food bricks. So breakfast, the whole meal together, 210, 270, 300. So we're looking at 300 grams was breakfast. Dinner is bigger, so we've got 210, 360, 460. So we've got 460 for the dinner, and then the lunch was the big meal. We have 200, 300, 400, 525. So I'm gonna eat probably everything but one of these bricks. You know, these are much bigger than the lunch ones, so I'm gonna put one of these to the side for now. And we're just gonna go nuts. We're gonna have all this stuff. All right, let's see. We'll grab the trusty tray. All right, this kit is in good shape. You know, this was the one that was all shattered. So kept this spoon from last week, but we'll open a new kit. So I was saying I really like the spoon. It is similar to the Australian spoon. It's a little shallow. It's got a nice square front, which is great, you know, against a tray for picking stuff up. So, you know, I like the spoon. The one that's shattered, you know, I don't know that they have a lot of rigidity. I wouldn't try and bend them too much. Fordman, you're missing the best part. But thank you for stopping in. It was great to have you. So, let's see. Did I miss anybody else jumping in? Been rambling. No, okay. Looks like I still got everybody. I see somebody saying, oh, Spice-Man. I thought it said Spider-Man. I know there's some new Spider-Man out. And Fordman had said earlier, I wonder why U.S. rations don't have many Asian-style dishes. The cold weather rations really did. They had the spicy Oriental-style chicken with vegetables. They had the sweet and sour pork with rice. The beef teriyaki. I'm drawing a blank, but those are all fantastic. They're basically just freeze-dried Chinese food. And then we've got the Asian-style beef strips. Was one of my favorites. That's gone though. I don't know if there's anything right now. Forgive me for the staying up too long brain fogginess. So if anybody remembers any current ones, shout them out. All right, so we're popping open this boiled peanuts, which that's going to be interesting. I've always heard about boiled peanuts instead of roasted, and this will be the first time I've had any. So I'm going to dump them out. Oh, one thing worth noting: none of these Paratrooper rations have drinks. So I'm assuming that drink packet would be provided separately. All right, let's flatten this out and see if we can get a quick picture of it for translating. It is still very, very crinkled, but might be able to get it smooth enough to take a shot and translate it. Sure, I didn't get any. Does not want to focus on that. Yeah, it really does not want to focus on the shiny material there. Seems fine on focusing on other stuff. What's going on here? Okay, there we go. Trying to get as little reflection as I can. There's a big crease in the middle of some of it. All right, let's see what we got. Ingredients: peanuts and seasoning. All right, simple enough. So next we've got the mustard greens from breakfast. Gonna dump them out here and then probably put the other set next to them as a comparison. So these were packed in June 2020, so they are 2 years old, but the pouched meals were in great shape. The pouched entrees were in great shape, so I'm thinking these are going to be fine. Let's see. So the breakfast was just these two items and the compressed brick. So we've got. Actually, I guess I don't need a. We'll still do a separate compartment. So we'll open up one of these compressed bricks. Open up the fragrant four spiced thing, which does look different. Okay, that's definitely very different. And we've got the fruit cocktail. I'm gonna have to check the ingredients on that spiced four fragrant thing again, because it's definitely not the same mustard greens and whatever. And let's take a look at the hairtail, the fish. So, oop, yeah, that is fish. Get these things opened up. Now I'm going to start with one there. We'll see. So, see, overall, we've got. Let me double check the translation on that. This packet here. Okay, so okay. Ingredients. Yeah, I must have translated the mustard greens twice for some reason. So we've got dried fragrant, winter bamboo shoots, mushrooms, daylily, and seasonings. I really like dried fragrant does not make sense to me. I assume that's a thing because it translates the same way no matter how I look at it. But let's take a start with some of these boiled peanuts. They have a totally different like feel to them than roasted. It's like a more substantial chew to them. Hey, LC, welcome to the stream. We're looking at a Chinese paratrooper breakfast between the peanuts and the mustard greens down at the bottom, and a Chinese paratrooper dinner between the fragrant mushrooms and bamboo shoots, hairtail fish, fruit cocktail, and both of them had these compressed food bricks. Which are basically just big shortbread cookies. So, boiled peanuts. You know, they're not too salty. They're definitely, you know, it's a chewier consistency than nuts. You know, like than like just roasted peanuts that would, you know, crunch up and, you know, just feel a lot more solid or brittle when you're eating them. These are they have a squish to them. Ooh, almost dropped them. You know, I'm a little surprised that only the lunch had rice, and pork fried rice, which was really good. All right, let's try the mustard greens that are also part of the breakfast. This does not have like a breakfast kind of taste. They're pickled. But also, yeah, they're heavy on the salt. I like them. Now let's see what the heck this fourth fragrant thing is. So these big pieces, I'm assuming, are the mushroom. Oh, that is nice. That is a really nice flavor. It's kind of like tastes like it's got the consistency of like an omelet, but it's mushroom. There's only let's see, here's, I'm not sure what type of green that is. And it's got a, yeah, it's got a heavier, it's got a kind of a chewier taste. I mean, sorry, a chewier consistency than like, mushrooms that would be on like a pizza in the US. I really like that one. Savory, not too salty. Um, you know, just good texture to it. And I didn't show the peanuts up close, so they're big, for one. So I guess when they roast, they would shrink. That makes some sense. Good to see that the Chinese fruit cocktail shares something with the U.S. fruit cocktail. That right there is the only bit of cherry. A tiny little bit. Ooh. So it had coconut and peach. And that chunk that I just got, it's like a big chunk of coconut. It's like an almost translucent, yeah, it's like a little, you can kind of see towards the top there. It's like a translucent cube. It's got a really good firm texture to it. I really like that. And the liquid, the liquid has like peach in it. Really nice. Yeah, overall, this whole ration, the whole like the 24-hour ration, I would be very happy to get this issued. Now, big thing worth noting, there are no menu varieties. Breakfast is breakfast, lunch is lunch, dinner is dinner. That's it. That's what you get. So that's different than a lot of countries. So if you got issued this for a couple weeks, you might start to get really sick of it. So this is the hairtail. Looks to be, smoked maybe, and spiced. It looks like pork, and it has almost a pork kind of flavor to it. It's definitely fish, and it has bones. It kind of has the flavor of spare ribs, like Chinese spare ribs you'd get at like a Chinese buffet. Yeah, Smokey, I'm sorry I missed the Saturday stream too. I was in northern New Jersey with some friends and just wasn't able. see, Smokey says he bets the variety is lacking in the menu department. But yeah, as far as I can tell, this is it. You know, you get hairtail for dinner, fried rice, beef, and pork for lunch, and peanuts and mustard greens for for breakfast, and that's it. Yeah, this is fish. You know, this is I'm assuming from the texture and consistency that it's smoked first, and then then coated in sauce and cooked further. But it says hairtail, so it's the large head hairtail, aka beltfish. I'm not sure if that's another name, but everything translated to that. And it says that it's the most popular fish on the Chinese table. So, let's see, sectioned and deep fried. Let's see, deep fried and shallow sautéed, braised, or red cooked. It's really, it's actually a little sweet. It's I would say definitely more sweet. The saltiness factor is very low. Like, yeah, I don't get a salty taste from this. I get like a sweet spare rib kind of taste. Like these mushrooms, I would say, are saltier, and these are, very savory. Yeah, by comparison, there's a lot more salt taste there. And then these mustard greens, way more salt. And the boiled peanuts, probably somewhere in between. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say this does not taste salty at all. By comparison to anything else in here, this tastes sweet. My first big bite had a couple bones in it, but since then it seems good. Yeah, it says spiny finned fish that doesn't look that great, but tastes pretty good. And I'm a big fan right now. There aren't a whole lot of fish rations in the world, like in terms of like a pouched fish entree. We have tuna fish, just albacore, and that's it. The seafood chowder has some fish in it, but that's freeze dried. I want to say like Malaysian ones have some fish. Japanese rations definitely have fish. There's a lot of really good Japanese rations with fish. Yeah, this has some nice color variety, from the the light green of this, to the really light, refreshing orange, and these neat little white cubes. What about pink mush? Who's got pink mush? Despite saying traditionally something like this would have a lot more salt, so that you're encouraged to eat the rice. Stretch the meat further. That makes sense. Well, are you who has a name? Talking one of the cats on Smokey stream. Smokey's saying got a lot going on, a lot on his mind. Got to learn to enjoy calm times more. I feel you there. Every now and then, I just have to force myself to just sit down and watch something. You know, 2 days ago, I watched an episode of the new Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Just didn't also do computer stuff or anything like that. Just sat down and watched it and enjoyed it. And that's rare for me. Always trying to do too many things. But honestly, it's nice sometimes when you can really just get your brain to say, I'm in relaxing mode, just relax. This vacation I'm going on is exercise in logistics and people management and equipment management. And, we have an event that we run every day. We have a bar that's serving drinks every day. It's a lot of work, but I have an idea. I got one of the wonderful folks out there put this together, which is a guide of everybody who's listed that they're doing events with food. So I am going to try and get just a bite or two from 50 different places this year. So we're going to see how that goes. I'm going to try and get like a 30-second little clip of each one if I can, if the camera's working. But so like, you see like on Monday, somebody's doing snow cones from 1 to 3. Somebody's doing ramen from 1 to 3. Somebody's doing pudding, fire fries, PB&Js. Somebody's grilling corn. Someone has bison from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Honest mistake, they're a great camp. That's who's got the bison. They bring 255 pounds of tri-tip and cook it in the desert. And everything, this is all giveaway. Nothing at Burning Man costs anything. Like, people work all year to bring an experience to other folks. You don't have to, but thousands and thousands of us do. So these guys, they set up a kitchen and they serve food just for the gratification of making people's day better. I served about 2,500 meals out there across a 5-year project I called Chow Time. I brought UGRs. I went through 150 UGRs out there, probably more. More, definitely more. Because I would bring bins and bins of UGRs and then set up, half a dozen crock pots and tip them in one by one and let them get up to nice and hot, and then call people in from the street and empty them and then do it again and do it again. So I feel like karmically, me going around and just trying to eat at all the different camps that I can, that's fine. I've served thousands of meals out there and everybody loved them. Like, in all 5 years, 2 times and only 2 times did someone, come back to put a plate in the garbage, because I did paper plates and stuff, where there was still food on it. One person didn't like the apple cinnamon oatmeal, and one person didn't like, I can't remember. I want to say it was the chipped beef in cream sauce, the SOS, aka shit on a shingle. But for the most part, other than that, people said they were blown away. They didn't expect military food to taste that good. And the UGRs have some really crazy good menus. Like, out there I served everything from like turkey tetrazzini to beefsteak au jus. Beefsteak au jus is a military ration, right? I mean, like, that's crazy. Rice pilaf, and breakfast ones I do like honey glazed carrots and, oatmeal and, um, spiced apples in sauce and sausage links, turkey or pork. I had, brined ham. Uh, they have bacon UGRs, but I've never got my hands on one. It's just a big old tray of bacon. Um, they've had like Southern style green beans with bacon is a great one. Mashed potatoes with and without gravy, stuffing, cornbread. The UGRs are wonderful, and I still have 50 or 60 from that era that I don't know how good they are at this point. Some point in the next year, I want to have some kind of get together, or if anybody else throws a get together for Ration folks, I'll bring them. But I have short stack of very recent production, like 2021 production or 2020 production, just a meal, like one meal's worth. I want to say it's like spaghetti, mashed potatoes, some vegetable, and red velvet cake for dessert with icing. So, I do want to make sure we eat as a group within date at some point somehow. So anyway, yeah, so that's the vacation side for me. Going out and doing all the work, driving that god awful truck that I hate into the desert, working with the team to build everything, to get everything prepped, and then at the end of it, tearing it all down, packaging it all up, getting it all back in the truck, getting the truck back, and all that stuff. That's the work side. But the middle of the week, I'm going to go adventuring. I'm going to try and eat as much as I can, random stuff here and there. Grilled cheese is like a huge deal out there. It's like 1 in 10 events is grilled cheese, but people do it really different. There's a camp called Midnight Poutine that you get in line, and the first thing you do is like wash dishes, and then you move on to scrubbing potatoes. Then you move on to dicing the potatoes, or like putting them through the French fry thing and deep frying them and putting the gravy and cheese on and stuff. Basically, you go through all the stages of making your own meal. They provide all the ingredients and they manage it and clean it and oversee it. But hundreds and hundreds of people move through. They open up at midnight. They're a group from British Columbia. They've been doing it for a decade. I can't wait to go back there. There's a place called camp called Bow Chicka Wow Wow, which serves pork bows throughout the day. So it's a crazy concept. There's 72,000 of us. We build a city. All they give us are streets, basically, and